Did you know there are 5 Google My Business mistakes that the majority of businesses seem to fall into? It's a trap that so many seem to find themselves doing without realizing, or maybe they've gone online, they've read a couple of ideas and they've then applied it, but they've not realized that maybe that information was 3 or 4 years out of date, and maybe Google's made changes to their algorithm to make it spammy or considered spammy now, some of the advice that was given a few years ago. So I want to make sure that as you go into 2021, you've been given the exact right advice to take you into not making the same mistakes that others are making. And that hopefully will give you a real boost in the coming year as your business aligns with the algorithm that Google has in mind for you for 2021. So welcome to my video. So like you, I'm a small business that's trying to help other businesses to succeed and grow in Google. And as I go along this process, I try and share my information so that you can benefit too from the things that I'm learning. So today I'm looking at 5 Google My Business mistakes that most people seem to be making. And as I identify them, I'll try and also show you the right thing to do, as well as what the traps are that people are falling into. So let's dive into the first one. So the first one is just spammy titles. So what do we mean by spammy titles? Well, I'm going to dive into my computer now and show you what to avoid and what you need to do. I'm going to be careful here because I don't want to make any accusations, but I do think I have to point it out because it does have an impact on your business. So I've done a search here, all in title and then OTT SEO company. Now the reason I did this is actually it's something that White Sparks did recently, and as they've shown here, there's a lot of these companies, and their suggestion was, are these all genuine companies or are they just using the SEO company? Now I don't know, but what I did notice, if I go to say the website here, so this is the Seattle branch. If I click on website, you notice what comes up. It's just a picture. So it could be that that's a mistake. It could be that there's a little bit of what they're known as is a ghost business or a fake business. Now just imagine you are the genuine business down here, but you've got 7 or 8 of these kind of very similar ones ahead of you. Then there is ways to report this. I'll just give you another example. So I just did a search here on SEO again in Seattle. So let me just go back to this. This was SEO in marketing in Seattle, and a lot of these look genuine. A lot of them have got the word SEO in, which is fine if that's your business, that's your company. Now this is a company here called Cloud One Marketing, but you notice it's down right in the middle of this huge chunk of keywords. This is giving them a real boost, even though they're not at the top. This gives them a real boost. Now Google does say quite clearly that has to be the name of your company, and I think that they're using keywords here to get found really quickly on Google My Business, and that will give them a little boost. But if you're a customer, does that make sense that you have that as your customer name? Well, again, it's up to you to decide, but Google says that if you report these things, you'll get a boost in your ranking. And the reason that gives you a boost is because if you were this company here, you would now appear above it, because there's no way that that represents the company. And I'll show you why. This is what Google would do if it's reported. They would click on the website, and there you see it's called Cloud One Marketing. So how do you report it? Well, if you were going to report it, you would click on the knowledge panel, you can suggest an edit, and you could just say the name of that company's changed. I don't believe it's any more called all of this. I think the name of the company is, and then you could just put Cloud One Marketing, which is actually the name of the company. And if you send that to Google, they will then manually check that, and then if it's a case, that will then be considered the fair way to keep it. I'm not going to do that because that's not my style, but I know many people are doing this and they're seeing a huge boost in their rankings when they do it for those that are in the same area or category as them. So I think it's worth just pointing out this is a really big mistake. If you're a company doing this, it is not going to work for much longer. Google's trying to stop this happening, and they're rewarding those that are reporting such. So that's something to consider. Spam removal is a positive factor in 2021. Now the second Google My Business mistake is known as keeping your hours and your holidays up to date. So it's as simple as that. So when you log into your Google, it's important to again just check here, make sure that you're checking your plan on the right as well, and make sure that when you update hours, keep your service availability up to date too. How do you do that? Well, you can click on this or you can go to info. They both lead to the same place. So it takes you through to info, and then you've got your regular hours, which again you can check. And once you've got your regular hours approved, then you've got more hours, which are perhaps if you have like a happy hour or something a bit different. But finally, this is the one as well that a lot of people don't recognize. It gives a signal to Google. Just keep your holidays updated too. So think of the dates, think about them. How do they need to be updated? Are you closed? Are you open? That just, when you make those changes, it gives Google a little bit of a knowledge that you're still keeping abreast of what's going on when it comes to your business times. And Google even wants you to put special hours in, so you can manage it that way with holidays, special events and other exceptional circumstances, which of course with the global pandemic there has been exceptional circumstances when it comes to business times. It says here it's a good idea to confirm your hours for official holidays. Now if you want to know what the official holidays are for next year, you can click on that. You can then find your country in here, so I'm going to put GB for Great Britain, and there's a list of all the dates that need a reference that Google wants, and of course you've got all the different countries here and different states and so on, so you might want to just bear that in mind, that Google is looking on those dates for a reference to an official holiday and whether your hours have changed. Now if your hours haven't changed, still go in there and still make an update of at least recognizing it, that you've done that change, and that just gives Google the signal that you're still keeping everything up to date. Why? Well, because Google wants businesses to be clear to customers. If customers can rely on Google to know that the times and holidays are right, then Google My Business will be considered the go-to place in the future. And that's what Google wants, because then if everyone goes to Google My Business, Google knows they can make money through advertising. So there's the kind of the business plan from Google's perspective. They want customers to rely on Google My Business, and they're going to reward you if you keep your business up to date with hours and holidays.
The third Google My Business mistake that people seem to be making, and this is one that's really easy to put right, is answering the questions that your customers and clients are asking. Now, the only sacrifice needed is to just make sure you log on to your Google My Business at least once every week to just check to see if you have any questions. But there's an easier way of doing it than that. If you log in to your app, so if you download your Google My Business app for your phone, then as soon as someone asks a question, it will alert you on your phone, so you can answer it immediately on the go. So you don't even need to log into Google My Business to do this properly. But let's see how you can go about that.
So where do you answer these questions that are raised by customers? Well, you just log into your Google My Business app and it'll be there if you've got that downloaded. Or you can just go and do a search for your company. So I've done a search. So imagine this is one of the takeaways I use, Thai Kitchen. They're really good. But I notice here that they've got a question, seal questions. Number 1, ask a question. So I can ask a question or I can open up this question. Now, if I was the business owner, I would answer that. So this person says, I'm from Boscombe, which is a local town to deliver to here. Otherwise, I don't mind going all the way down to pick it up. So they wanted a quick answer. And if the person had the app, they would have been able to answer it. And no one's actually answered it. And that's obviously just a negative, isn't it? It's not going to show that the customer is probably going to think, well, they didn't even answer my question. And from their point of view, they're going to find that others are going to look at that and see that as a negative. And Google also may just have that as one of the very fine little marks in its algorithm that downranks it above the next one above it. Now, here's another one. So that's one thing. You just noticed there how they could have improved that. Just actually also they could have answered there's also reviews here and there's no thank you. So these people have put a nice 5-star review. There's nothing there to reply. Just click on the next one down. So I'm just doing a look at takeaways, and this also has a question. So we open that. But you notice here they've if ordered by delivery, can I pay cash? And actually a local guide's done it on their behalf. Yes, you can. And there's other answers. So they said thank you. So that's an immediate reaction going on there. It's almost like a chat. And then yes, you can as well. You've then got another local guides come in. So the local guides here have helped them out actually, rather than the owner themselves. But you can see how interactive it is when you get questions. Now imagine those, if you're getting several questions a week, and you're answering them as well, then that's going to be a positive signal in Google. And this is great as well, that the customer then has also put a photo, which is again a very positive thing, but no answers here or no thank yous for the reviews. So a few things that can be learnt here from these takeaway signs, these takeaways, their knowledge panels, but hopefully that's been useful to see the importance of answering questions.
The fourth Google My Business mistake that you need to avoid in 2021 is just not really completing your profile. So it could be that it says that you need to add a logo. It could be that you need to add opening hours. You need to add when your company was founded. You need to add a description. In fact, Google gives you all the clues. You can see exactly what you need to do. But if you don't complete your listing, then in effect, why would you expect to get customers visiting you? It's like a half-open shop. It's like having a building site for your shop. You're still in the process of building it. And of course, no one visits a shop until the shop has an opening day because it's completed. So it's important to make sure you complete your listing. Let me just show you an example of this.
So what do we mean by completing the listing? Well, here I'm looking at dental care. So Highcliffe Dental Care, they're advertising, so they're putting money into this. But you notice they've filled out everything. It seems that they've got their website, they've got directions and so on. You notice here they've got a COVID update. You notice the products they've got. Again, these are professional looking products. And again, you can see that they'll be able to obviously afford to get their money back on this marketing, because these are things that people pay a lot of money for, things like a root canal treatment and so on. They've also got categories. They've answered questions. They've got a popularity time. They've added nice photographs, quality photographs. So the thing is, this is an attractive, they're even answering questions. So this is completed. It doesn't mean they always get great reviews. This one's a bad review. But the point is they filled out, they've got their Facebook account linked to it too, which I've got a video on how to do that. Everything about this says to me that they're investing in their Google My Business, and therefore they will get clients finding them. They'll be found. Now, if I turn to another section when I was doing a bit further search, these ones won't be found as well, because like Pool Dental Practice. So again, this might be a very popular one, I don't know. But you notice there's no website, the same with DF Bennett as well. And let's just look through here. So this is a dental practice, and yet the only photo showing is a Trip Hammer electronic cigarettes. So again, it's not really what you'd expect to see compared to, let's just look at the contrast of the pictures, the imagery here. Again, you can see the difference when you fill out positively your Google My Business. Now again, if you don't know how to do this, then all my videos on this channel will help you to do that, or you can always of course email me and you can hire my services. But this is really straightforward stuff then. So notice here they've got reviews, some are good, some are bad. There's no response at all to it. There's no social media connected. So this is kind of not going to be helping them get people getting their confidence. Here's another dentist here, then the one below. Again, we've just got a street view look. It doesn't look like anyone's claimed the business. What confidence would you have? There's nothing really there. What confidence would you have to go with them for dental treatment? Probably very little. So these are genuine businesses, as probably they're very good at what they do, but they're not really recognising the importance in 2021 of getting someone, if you can't do it, get someone to do it for you to complete the listing. It doesn't take that long. It's quite a straightforward process, but what a contrast compared to perhaps the way that some of these ones that are being ranked as well, because they've put a little bit of extra effort in to get themselves up and running. And so we can see the difference there.
Now, the fifth mistake's just a mistake that's really coming about quite recently. I've noticed this come up a lot in the questions on Google My Business, on the support forums there. I've also seen this a lot on my videos where there's comments, and on my social media comments too, that many people are finding they're just being banned, and they're saying for no reason. And actually what they really mean is they're being banned by Google, but their reason behind it is unjust, unfair. What's actually the cause of this? Well, it seems at the moment that Google has this algorithm that's set in trying to make sure that the spammy sites are disappearing, which, again, if you've got a genuine business, then you're going to be appreciative of that. But the difficulty is Google's judging the fact that if you keep updating things, they're seeing that as what a spammy type of person would do.
So let's just imagine that you wanted to change your address. But at the same time, you thought, well, while I'm there, I'm going to change my categories. I'm also going to change the areas that we cover. I'm also going to change my business name to accurately represent what my business is because I want to avoid a spammy business name. If you make too many changes all at the same time, big changes this is, Google has something that just goes, well, let's just ban it. Let's just get rid of it. And then if it's genuine, they'll appeal it. And of course, you can appeal it and you'll get it reinstated. But meanwhile, you've lost 3 or 4 weeks business trying to do that. So my advice here, and this is the mistake that many are making, is make one change at a time. So on these bigger changes, like addresses and business names, make sure that you change one thing, get it approved, and then move on to your next thing. And that makes sense when you think of the majority of businesses aren't going to change categories and shop names and their addresses and their business profiles. They're not going to be changing all those things at once, generally speaking. And so Google's trying to eradicate that. Now, so far, we've spoken about 5 things you need to avoid. But as a bonus, it's sometimes more important not to just avoid things, but to do things really positively for your business. And that's why I've produced this video now that I want you to go over to, meet me there, 13 positive things you can do for 2021 to rank your Google My Business a lot higher than it is today. I'll see you there.